G'day friends, welcome to today's YouTube video. My name is James, welcome back to my channel. Welcome if you're new. This is my Hobonichi 5-year Catchup. It is a 5-year journal. I started in 2019 and it should be finished in 2023. Fingers crossed, all things going well. By the title of this video, you know I am 2 weeks behind in it, much like I was the last time it was on YouTube. Look, I'm not gonna lie to you, it's not something that is uncommon. I wouldn't say it's how I like to be or how I try to exist with my 5-year journal. The very nature of it, oh, by the way, can we just appreciate the little Summer Dolls, the little corner piece stamp set there? I was talking about that recently, I don't know what video it was, but those are the little stamps that I absolutely love. I don't make those anymore. I have no plans to restock them. Were they a Patreon thing ages ago? I've completely forgotten. I think no, the doll parts were. And the three-faced ones were. I think I just made those corner pieces for something. Anyway, when my collage club for June, I was inspired to make more page breaks and corner pieces. Those were the stamps. I know I was talking about it somewhere. Ironically, my collage club from May were those falling Alices. Collage club has really been like something, let me tell you. Kind of just ties everything together and has given me, I don't know, just like a really weird, sharpened vision on how I want to be pulling together all this content and art and style and products and journaling and blah, 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 blah. We're not here for that. Let's move on. So this is my 5-year journal. I got my cover at the Hobonichi store in Kyoto when I went to Japan with Stella back in 2019 when we filmed our Memory to Memento travel journal workshop. So if you have seen those vlogs, I know that my people that were in my playtest 2 Patreon experience, and that actually, do you know what? I don't know if I ever mentioned this, but that whole content bundle got put on Teachable as well. So if you're ever looking for like a ton of extra content, both Patreon experiences, the 3-month one and the 2-month one I did, are both on Teachable as a purchasable bundle. I'm not going to lie, like some of the content definitely aged, but I think it aged well. But there's a ton of other stuff there. And I know in Playtest 2, in that bundle, I actually added not only the travel vlogs, I added a director's cut. I'm pretty sure both of those are in there. And it was, yeah, all of that to say, that's where I got that journal from. So if you've seen those vlogs, that was that. This is the same journal I took there and I stamped there. I absolutely love it. For me, this journal is kind of, I tell this story a lot. I was never planning on doing it. I was really sucked into the Hobonichi kind of community a few years ago, and I really wanted to use it as a planner, which I thought I would definitely do. But at the time, I was working in a different planner, and I had another journal that was kind of, it was supposed to be weekly, and I ended up turning it into a quote-unquote wheneverly journal, which just meant I would get to it whenever. I have lots of whateverly and wheneverly journals. It's just a thing that makes me feel a lot more comfortable about using them for anything and everything. But essentially, they're all just art journals and something similar. So anyway, I got this as a way to kind of convince myself that I was allowed to buy into the Hobonichi community, because I didn't need a planner and I didn't need just a regular journal. But this was something that I didn't have, so I thought, well, great, there is my excuse to buy it. Also, I kind of told myself that if I was good at documenting my weeks, that I would kind of deserve it. It was so random. But you know when you kind of test yourself with something and you think, well, if I commit to this planner for like 2 weeks, then that means I'm a good planner, so I would deserve the more expensive cover. Does anyone else do that? I don't know. And I don't even know why I bargain with myself. I'm allowed to have these things. Like, no one's stopping me. I just still think it's that part of me that grew up to be a really like well-informed consumer. And most of the time I'm just trying to ask myself if it's really worth it. But turns out that the 5-year was. I also got really sucked into their marketing campaign, which was, they just posed a really simple question, which was, think of everything that's happened in the last 5 years. And they just got me. I was such a sucker because I'd had such an interesting and like transformative, experiential, whatever you want to say, like crazy 5 years, that a lot had happened. Like my life had completely switched and changed, and it was almost like upsetting, to be honest. I was very emotional about it because I thought, well, I wish that was all documented. Now, plot twist, I did do, in 2015, I did a Polaroid a day, like one of those little Instax minis, because I had a printer. I had the actual camera, but I had a little printer as well, so I could do it straight from my iPod Touch and like print photos instead of having to capture them on the Polaroid camera all the time. So I did a Polaroid a day, very expensive project, I would not recommend, but I do love looking through that year because every day, and this is before I was an art journaler. I kind of did art journaling at the end of 2015, but this was throughout the whole year, and you can see where I started to try and decorate everything. And I would say those are kind of like some of my first scrapbook type art journal album type things, whatever you want to call them. They were very much a hybrid of everything. But since that whole year was documented and with lots of pictures and lots of stickers and fun things and memories, I felt like at least I had done one of those, but then I was really upset that I didn't have the rest of the years documented. So I immediately got it. I opted for the A6 because it was smaller, and I just didn't see at that point in my life, and currently, by the way, if it matters, I didn't see that I didn't think I'd be able to actually keep on top of an A5. There was just too much room. There's too much stuff to write, like too many lines to fill, too much space to fill. And I know I have 5 years to do it, but I'm 3 years in now, and a lot of these pages don't have pictures on them, like on the right-hand side of these spreads. Some of them do, some of them are pretty full, and that's okay. I want this to be completely full by the end of 2023, so, next year I'm definitely going to have to choose to at least put something on most of the pages that don't have something on the right-hand side. Because I'm really glad that I picked the A6. I just don't have enough time to completely dedicate myself to this. I often say that if I weren't working in art journaling, like I didn't do workshops and content and all that stuff, which is the irony, right? Like, this is my full-time job. Why is this not something I can keep up with? It makes zero sense. That's why I don't talk about it a lot, because it literally just sounds like the whingiest thing ever. I work full-time in art journaling, and here I am like, I don't have enough time to art journal. Truly, though, it happens. It's because I use this in my personal time, right? Which I don't have a lot of, so that makes sense. And that's why I'm making this video, so I had to literally catch up so that I could make this video more interesting. Anyway, I'm glad I picked the A6. I think it's much more doable than the A5, but I was going to say, and I've said this before, if I didn't teach all this art journaling, if I wasn't so involved with like content creation and everything, and I only shared on social media like back in the day, I would probably only have a couple of journals, like one watercolor paper journal so I could just play in that with my mixed media, and then one of these. And then depending if I had a job where I needed to keep on schedule, which I've actually never really needed a planner for. Most of the jobs I've ever had in my life were very much scheduled and a preset schedule that would never change, with lots of commitments that were always really regular. So I never had to worry about it. It was only when I started working for myself that I needed a planner. But I was kind of saying, like, at most I would probably have this, a planner, and a couple of like different mixed media paper journals. And I think that would totally get me by. And if I had just that and I was just focused on personal journaling, not teaching or anything, I would probably commit more time to this because it would be more of a personal passion project where I would do a lot more of my illustration or my painting. I've done it before, and it's not to say that I couldn't actually make the intentional effort to schedule time to do that in here. It's just not something that I do right now, and it hasn't been something that I've tried to set myself up with for the past year or so. And I'm okay with that. I don't mind falling behind. I do keep notes of things that happen. I also have my camera roll full of photos of things that happen, so that can kind of trigger a memory. I have like the archive on Instagram. I go and look through that, see if there's something that's happened that I can write down. If all else fails, I'll just write things that I like or just thoughts. I do actually make more of an effort now to prompt myself to talk about my personal feelings about things or my ideology. I want to capture that because I think that's something that changes with age, with wisdom, right? And with time, social context. I've been challenging myself to write down more of my thoughts. I won't lie, I find it a little bit of a struggle because I know this still does like see the light of day on social media. And so I don't want to write anything too personal or too, how do I say? I was going to say thought provoking. That's not what I want to say. I don't want to write anything that could be misconstrued. And a lot of personal thoughts and feelings. If you've watched any of my stream of consciousness videos, you know, some of those thoughts are just thoughts that come up. And I like to document them, but I think if people actually thought that was something that I ruminated over and I just sat with for days and committed, you know, energy and effort to, it might not be received well, right? Because not all my thoughts are fantastic thoughts. My brain is really creative with some of the things it can think up. I wouldn't even say creative. What would I say? I've got a wild imagination. I love it a lot of the time. It's really fantastic, and it's a great kind of childlike spirit, I would say. But sometimes my imagination can really run away with the worst of thoughts, and I just don't want to document that in here. I do have other journals where I can do that, or I can put it into some kind of visual representation of that, or even sometimes I code it. It's not like I don't have a secret language that I write to myself in, but I would write to myself in a way that's maybe, I don't know, sometimes I write like a little sarcastically about something, and I would know what the hidden meaning behind that was. So if I went back and read it, it would make sense that I was actually talking about something else. But if someone just read it, they would just think, oh, he has really simple thoughts. So I guess enjoy, you know, stopping the video, screenshotting the pages and trying to figure me out. I will just say, if you ever do that, I'm literally not offended by it. I'm not speaking for everyone here, but I would never put anything out on the internet that I didn't want you to see. Not that I want you to see it, but if I was so devastated by like the thought that you might read or see something, I would not put it on a video. So I don't think you'll ever find anything in there too salacious, but there have definitely been times where I've written things in here, or there's definitely coded messaging in here. And it's usually about more emotional feelings, more raw feelings that are negative. Because I don't want it to be a fully positive, like, reflection of, wow, he had the best 5 years. It's truly not been the best 5 years of my entire life. So there has to be some kind of raw vulnerability that goes in. But I ultimately do want the overall thing to be just a documentation of what happened and who I was as I was going through it. Not necessarily everything I felt, but how I understood this life to be as I'm living it. Does that make sense? In any case, I do absolutely love this journal. Fun fact, whenever we have fire drills here, I shouldn't say fire drills, they're actual fire alarms, but none of them have ever been fires, touch wood. I don't know why it happens so often. We were told last time that someone actually goes through the car park and pulls the alarm, like at 2 a.m. in the morning, like it's just a person that does it for jokes. But we don't know that, right? In those circumstances, I usually grab a few things, my passport, my documents, like my immigration documents. I grab my iPad, or like I usually have a little box of hard drives. That's my entire JLB creative business. I grab that stuff and this journal. I'd grab this one, and I've actually stopped grabbing other ones, mostly because most of the things, like all of the times the fire alarm went off, it's never actually been a fire, but I just grabbed this one, and because if I started grabbing the rest, I would be really upset if I pulled another one out and then realized after the fact that I didn't want that one, I wanted a different one. I think I'd hate myself forever for doing that, but this one I definitely want. So I've kind of made peace with the fact that if I only had one journal at the end of all of this, like heaven forbid something happened, or, you know, maybe we moved to Australia and I can't afford to ship all the journals over there because they weigh 600 tons. If I could just take this one, that would make me really happy. Most of the other ones I've scanned all the pages to and made content out of anyway, so this one's really the one that I do need to pick up every time something happens. But it's one of my favorites. Let me know if you have a 5-year journal and how you're going with that. Don't be afraid if you're falling behind, you can always catch up. There's literally years to finish it and so many fun ways you can do it. Jump on my Page in 10 series if you want to just be guided through some of the ways to finish some of your pages or fill some of those empty spaces. You can translate it to some of those little tinier spaces on the left hand side. And until I see you in the next video, I hope you're having a wonderful time. I'll be busy with Virtual Voyage 4 when this goes up, so hopefully you're enjoying some of that on social media too, and I'll speak to you again soon. Bye.